Well, good day. This is Speak On It. Also, Ritual Current Team. And today we want to do a abbreviated show, but we can't make it too short. Brother Eugene Matthews got a show at 11 o'clock, same time this is, and I'm supposed to be his guest co-host this morning. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Brother Matthews' show will be keeping it 100. So I'm going to try to keep a little energy so I can contribute to keeping it 100. But I can't bypass some things that has happened. And then we're going to get around to LaShawn Ford's West Side Heroin Opioid Task Force. Because there are activities that's occurring this month. You got the International Opioid Awareness activity, and the task force members are doing some pop-ups. And I'm going to give you some of those dates where you can just pop up like a piece of popcorn, go up in there, get a little butter on you, a little salt, and come out better. Now, over the weekend, see, I got to give you a little groundwork. But this is Speak On It, so you need to understand this. And my name is Malik, and those of you all have been looking for a long time, you know we ain't doing it live now because of the pandemic. We had to change things, but I'm thankful to CAN TV and Omari for allowing me to come in here this time of day to get it recorded. Because now more than ever, somebody need to be speaking on it. And I ain't just talking about me, I'm talking about you. But you just can't get to the phone because the phone in the system, it's not compatible. You just can't do it. Because the safety of the staff down here and all these different vendors coming in here, don't nobody know what nobody got, so everybody's moving on. But at least it's open. Now, last week we talked about this young man, the rapper that got killed down there on Oak Street, down there shopping for clothes for one of his 4 children. The man called him a gangbanger. His mama said he wasn't no gangbanger. He was a father raising children, doing positive rap. But the media kept trying to geek us to make us think that something was going to happen bad. So the mama was on TV praying and asking the community, please, y'all, don't do nothing crazy because my son wasn't on that. So folks was feeling pretty comfortable because they knew it wasn't coming from there. But lo and behold, because it was already planned, somebody got a hook into this system. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I can see straight and clear. Something was determined to happen. So a situation happened in Inglewood. So they say. This mama get on and she say, my son, woo-woo, didn't have no gun, da-da-da, woo-woo. But then on Facebook, or whatever in the hell media it was, he's standing up there with a banana clip like he over in some republic of guerrilla warfare with a modified killing machine. Another big old pistol in his hand, looking as retarded as hell. And she sounded sort of touched herself. And then the newscaster asked her, is this your son? And she said, yeah. That was the end of that. Maybe he didn't have a gun. Maybe he didn't shoot at the police. But he posted all over Facebook. That's what I said. Because when I try to get some of what I'm saying about a piece we did, and they had me on this little restriction, and they're going to probably restrict this, but I'd not give a, I don't understand it. Back in 2008, we did a little PSA for CAN TV. We didn't call out no candidate, we didn't do nothing. And I did a little piece, I said, flashback. To encourage people, get ready. And I'd be damned if they didn't say, well, look, dude, we got to close that down. You can't do that. It's against our community standards. How in the hell can me asking people to get ready to vote be against any community standards? I ain't calling out no candidate, but yet people can be on Facebook every day killing folks live, posting with guns, posting with their bodies all exposed. But then a Negro to try to stand on something, you want to censor. Okay, that's cool. It's your menu, and you decide to deal with it. It's cool. But that ain't gonna. You don't control me. You don't censor me. You can don't put my stuff up. What you ought to do is stop putting these killers up. What you ought to do is stop putting these naked women and men up, because that is breaking down the fabric of the community. But a dude like me, I ain't breaking down nothing but ignorance. And I'm not tripping, but I just wanted to be clear. You understand? Don't play with me. I mean, I understand, dude. You want the negativity. Boy, all over Facebook. But I'm over there in Inglewood, standing up. Y'all know this. Community watch, safe passage. So I'm listening to the dudes on the street. I'm listening to dudes that seen dudes that know about this here and that. But I'm also listening to these people that saying he was a 15-year-old and they shot him 15 times. And you daggone women ought to be ashamed of yourself. You were propagating that lie louder than anybody. Standing on your porch, just spewing that mess. That boy got hit 5 times, they say. But the thing they want to tell you about is the one that glazed his shoulder. So they say. But they also say he got popped in the back, in the face, and some other places. So they say. So all of that was enough for us to hear what Mayor Daley say, and I concur. Let's listen to the old original Mayor Daley, brother. I concur.
Said to him very emphatically and very definitely that an order be issued immediately under his signature to shoot to kill any arsonist or anyone with a Molotov cocktail in their hand in Chicago, to fire a building because they're potential murderers, and to issue a police order to shoot, to maim, or cripple anyone looting any stores in our city. And above all, the crime of arson is to me the most hideous and worst crime of any, and should be dealt with in this fashion. I was disappointed to know that every policeman out on the beat was supposed to use his own decision. And this decision evidently was his. In my opinion, he should have had instructions to shoot arsonists and to shoot looters.
Now let me tell y'all something. Let me be clear. Daley was not talking about Negroes per se. That was 1968. That was the convention. You understand me? But now you want to act all sensitive. But how can you justify that you have a right to go anywhere and just destroy people's property? Come back to the hood. They got shoes and alcohol strewn all over vacant lots. Niggas just out there like they got a flea market. You brought stuff out, you can't sell it, so you just people merchandise, man. And you think that's okay, huh? And then you get some little retarded new generation female to say she represent Black Lives Matter talking about it's okay. It's reparations. You little ignorant, retarded, need to be sent back to wherever you came from before your mama had you. Why do you mix up criminality and put that on the same breath of reparations? So how can we be taken serious? Now Daley said what he said. Y'all don't want to hear that. I would say the same thing if I was mad. I would say exactly what Daley said. I would. You run around talking about the police scared, macing the police. Ain't that something? Fighting the police with your fists. Ain't that something? Shooting at the police. Ain't that something? Woo! You need to be in Africa somewhere. You need to be in Togo or Ghana and try that and see when they kill your ugly black buckshot head behind. Who are you? Just running wild. And then you got people going around trying to justify that. You know, I could commentate on that all day, but I'm going to try to keep some of it for Matthew's show, keeping it 100. You understand? It's a disgrace. You saw what Trump was doing up there in Portland. You thought that was wrong. But those people was not you. You want to call Trump a racist. Those people was basically other than Negroes. But I can understand why white folks would be racist towards people that are acting like savages. I can understand that because those poor people that are Negroes whose stores have been knocked, whose businesses have been destroyed from May, and now here it is August and hit again by who? I can drive down Madison. Got garbage trucks. You doing that. And you mad at Trump? You don't understand why Daley said that in 1968? You don't understand why Trump had those people up there doing whatever he called himself doing? But I'd like to take some of the equipment Trump got, particularly that water hose fire truck, and just use it instead of having them empty garbage trucks. Just turn on the water hose. Lake Michigan got plenty of water. I would sanitize the streets. Any of that garbage I see driving around with all that loud fuss, I would just assume I'll profile you. I said, no, he look like he can swim. Let's see. I just turn on the daggone water truck. You downtown in the loop. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the mornings. Girls and boys running around in caravans. I don't know who got y'all on a string like that, but somebody need to cut y'all off that string. If you that big of a puppet, somebody need to cut you loose. And the only one that can do it is the government. And the government need to get busy. Because right now, you all think you in charge. It can't be like that. It can't. Brother, let's move on. I don't want to say no more on that.
In place for a second straight night here in Chicago. The bridges are up and entrances to the downtown area are closed as the city implements its neighborhood protection plan.
And after some tense moments in Inglewood, a standoff between residents and protesters has ended peacefully. Tia Ewing live with the protest that started over a police shooting and ended when residents pushed back. Tia.
Well, Don and Anthony, this protest lasted here in the Inglewood community for about an hour. There were customers that were definitely thrown out. There was some pushing and shoving, and that forced the protesters to then retreat. I actually spoke with an organizer from the group Good Kids Mad City. He told me that a lot of teens were here to protest, but they left because they didn't feel safe. This is where the caravan started on 64th and Cottage Grove. The protesters ended up here in front of the 7th Police District on 63rd and South Loomis. But it didn't last long. Daryl Smith is very passionate about his community. It makes sense because he's never left Inglewood.
I live in Inglewood 51 years.
His anger stems from Sunday when Chicago police say they were forced to fire back at 20-year-old Latrell Allen. They claim he fired at them first on 56th and Aberdeen in Inglewood.
First time they hear something, boom, he's 15. He got shot 15 times. He got shot and the lady got shot. It goes to social media real quick before, like again, learn the facts. You have to have facts in this matter.
From there, it's been said that tension for police at the scene of the shooting sparked looting in downtown and on the Gold Coast.
A lot of people say that the looting downtown sparked from Inglewood. We're not having that. It didn't spark from Inglewood. Those are opportunists. And we're tired of Inglewood getting a black eye for any and everything that happens.
Smith says he's not buying it. And he and other Inglewood residents wanted the protesters from Black Lives Matter Chicago, Good Kids Mad City, and other groups to leave. Inglewood residents clashed with those protesters. And eventually, those protesters were sent packing, marching away from the 7th District Police Station.
We refuse to let anybody come to Inglewood to tear Inglewood apart.
They want to come to Inglewood antagonizing our police, and then when they go back home to the north side in Indiana, our police are bitter and they're beating up our little black boys.
That's what I'm talking about.
The protesters were here calling for the defunding of police. Also, they want the ordinance passed for an elected governing body to preside over the Chicago Police Department, known as the Civilian Police Accountability Council. Live from Inglewood tonight, Tia Ewing, Fox 32 News.
Now, understand this here. See all you little sent-off operatives? You know, the black man can't stand up and protect his community against the system. But those men, they stood up. They weren't standing up because of this or that. They were standing up because of what's correct. People tired of this. You little outsiders come in And now you want to make kids think they equal to grown folks. Well, they need to be mature enough to be disciplined. You're going to come to Inglewood and you think it's going to start happening like that all over the city. We through with that. It's over with, I hope. Can't just let you be sent off and running around no consequence. We ain't got time to play this piece by Kim Foxx, but I was glad I saw it and I heard it. It made me understand better how she's caught in the midst. But she right. The bottom line is, the other politicians and police pointing their fingers at her. But let me tell you the solution, man. It's a real simple solution. You look at all them white folk standing there in Inglewood. All them white folks downtown. And you think these young people going to honor that? They don't care.
That I'm sure.
They don't care. And what you need to understand is this here. It's okay to have the 3 top brass in the police department being black, 2 black men and a black woman. That don't mean nothing. If you ain't got no one like that look like the people they going into the community to deal with, you need black police officers in these damn communities. Look what you saw. All these white boys and girls and Asians and Hispanics, and then you walk up in there, drive up in there, and you think that these people going to bow down? They ain't going to bow down. They going to swell up. They going to rise up, and they going to tear up with your dumb political behind. Hire some black police officers. Stop making excuses not to hire people from the community. You done hired all these others with all tattoos all over their bodies. You can't tell whether they black or blue. All them old spider webs, Ku Klux Klans. And you send them in our community. But you won't hire no black people because you talking about something that's irrelevant. Well, they got outstanding debt. They this, they that. But they ain't got no criminal background. They ain't did nothing that should mean they shouldn't be the police. But no. So, man, if you want to stop it, stop signifying. Stop trying to be a gangster. And hire some police officers that look like the people who community they gonna serve in. Send them white folks to their community. Send them Asians to their community. Send the Hispanics to their community. But send some black people into the black community where they can establish rapport and be able to deal with this. All right, brother, go on.
Like many people are heartbroken, angry.
We're going to do about 5 minutes of Kim Foxx.
As to how we find ourselves here. And the reality is that as we seek to figure out what is happening in what is truly an unprecedented summer, it requires us to ask tough questions, to do deep deliberation, and to put all hands on deck. All hands on deck means that rather than standing and pointing fingers, we work together. 4 years ago, 2016 was, at the time, the bloodiest year that we had seen in almost 2 decades. For those of us who don't remember, in 2016, we saw over 760 people killed, over 4,000 people shot. That summer was a summer that felt like unrelenting violence. I wasn't the state's attorney in the summer of 2016 when we saw the 4,000 people shot, or the 700 people murdered, or the children, much like we're feeling now. By way of history, in the summer of 2016, we also were contending with the wake of the Laquan McDonald murder here. We were contending with Freddie Gray. We were contending with Mike Brown, Tamir Rice. We were contending with changes in leadership. And the difference between now and 2016 and the revisiting of the violence that we see, in addition to what we've seen on the news related in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, is the fact that we're now involved in something that we've never been involved in, at least in my lifetime, which has been a global pandemic. A global pandemic that has had us in our homes, most of us in our homes, since mid-March. We've seen a global pandemic that has caused devastating job losses across the country, and particularly here in Chicago. We've seen a global pandemic coupled with civil unrest, coupled with an economic depression, and we've seen the violence that we've seen now. And the reality is we talk about the reflection that we must do in answering the questions beyond a soundbite and a finger point. It's being asked across the country. I speak to my colleagues in New York, which has seen a dramatic rise in homicides and shootings, unlike anything they've seen in the last several years. Or my colleagues in Atlanta, in California, where we've seen nationally an uptick in homicides by 24%. And the sad reality is Chicago continues to lead the way. But as they grapple for the answers for what's happening right now, it is taking into account the unprecedented times that we are in. We must continue to do that. This office has made as its pledge, when I started on December 1st, 2016, the December of the last bloody year we had, where there wasn't a widespread effort around bail reform, where there wasn't efforts to reform our criminal justice system, a criminal justice system that I often must remind us has found us being dubbed the false confession capital of the United States, that has seen in the last 10 years almost $1 billion in settlements. But even December 2016, when I first came into office, we talked about the fact that in that bloody year, our resources were not going after violent crimes. The number one referred prosecution in our office in 2016, the year of 700 plus homicides and 4,000 people shot, was drugs and retail theft. Drugs and retail theft.
All right, let's stop it right there, brother.
Over the last
Now look,
4 years, to address that. I know this crowd knows it, but I'll remind you that...
let's listen to what Kim Foxx said. And see, this is what you got to remember. They say that she don't prosecute felonies. But she told you what Alvarez was doing. Drugs and retail. Well, Foxx said, look, I'm going at violent crime. Little violations for curfew violations and that and this and that. Let the municipal code deal with that. But what you do is you merge it together and make it look like the Kim Foxx ain't doing something. Now, what she ain't doing is what LaShawn Ford had to do. And that is come up with programs to deal with drugs. But Alvarez, I'm gonna make it plain. Alvarez was charging every black person she could find with a heavy felony for drugs. But no, LaShawn said, no, we're going to get some treatment for that. And Kim said, we're going after people with guns, people that are looting, stealing, burglarizing, raping. That's what she doing. So let's be clear. They could criticize her about retail. Now, you know, I say if you steal a penny, as far as I'm concerned, that's equal to $1 million. And the same punishment for you stealing my penny, I want you punished as if you would have stole my $1 million, because you still violated me. You still committed a crime against me. Don't tell me it ain't violent. It was violent because you took it from me. But that's what Alvarez was charging you on. But people was killing and killing and killing. Well, the gun cases are now being charged under Kim Foxx. They hadn't got around to charging them people that did nothing in May because they've been closed down. Now those people are being charged. So let's just keep the record straight. You know, I'm one of the first people to holler, lock them up, stop letting them out. But I also understand what she's saying. Come on, do you really want to lock him up because the police said he didn't move fast enough? Do you really want to lock him up because the police said he violated curfew and they only doing that in the black community? Or do you want to take the few dollars we got and get this dude here that got this banana clip, regardless of his color, regardless of where he stayed? So let's keep the record straight, y'all. But anyhow, I'll tell you a little something here. We're going to take 5 more minutes. We're going to be out of here. Let's show this picture here, Brother Omar. Now, this is a picture here where I think justice might be trying to come into play. Here's a soldier that was given life. Can you roll that down so they can see this? For $30 worth of marijuana, well, up or whatever it takes so they can see the headline, $30, yeah, this good here. Man sentenced to life in prison for selling less than a gram of marijuana will finally be free. A U.S. military veteran who was sentenced to life in prison over less than $30 of marijuana is going to be released. Think! That's what Alvarez and them was doing. That's what they was doing all over the country. Over less than $30 worth of marijuana, you sent a veteran, sentence him to life. You know, that's unfair. That's very unfair. But now we got the West Side Heroin and Opioid Task Force. A task force that LaShawn Ford started a few years back. And like I said before, they doing pop-ups. And now, let me just say this. Find something for folks to look at other than me while I read this, Amari. West Side Heroin and Opioid Task Force, Tuesday, August the 13th. Thursday, August the 13th. That's gone. I ain't gonna waste my time on that. Saturday, August the 15th. They'll be on Central and Bloomingdale to Jackson and Central. You have people out there giving you information about what's happening as it relates to the services of the task force. Tuesday, August the 18th, from 10 to 1. That other one there is from 8:30 to 12:30, the one over there on Central and Bloomingdale to Jackson and Central. Now the one on the 18th will be on Grand and Division from 10 to 1. Thursday, August the 20th, from 11:30 to 2 o'clock, it'll be on Pulaski and Jackson. Pop-up overdose prevention training. And next Tuesday, August 25th, from 9, Task, 700 South Clinton. Pop-up overdose prevention training. Now, if you got folks that need some help, you need to be, you know what I'm saying, taking advantage of this here. Thursday, August the 27th, 11:30 to 2 o'clock, Pulaski and Jackson. Street outreach, 4300 Madison to Springfield, and Madison, Lake and Pulaski to Jackson, and Pulaski Street. And now, if you want to arrange training and so forth, call the West Side Heroin Opioid Task Force. That number 773-230-7281. These pop-ups can give you some information. This information can help you save somebody's life. So until next week, we're going to get up out of here and go keep it 100 with Brother Matthews. But I see we got 2 minutes left, and I don't want to waste time because if I mess up the clock, that means other people's shows can't be fit in. So I can't just come in here and be cutting off in a piece or something. So I got to do at least 2 more minutes. But I don't want to do it running my mouth. Brother, bring me that little 2-minute piece that talks about the dope and the sheriff department, if you can get that to run. I really need that to be seen.
Sometimes relaxed. Marijuana, you can smoke it, you can eat it in an extract of food, you can inhale it with a vapor pen, or consume it in an oil form. It's especially good for little kids who are taking it as a medicine. No matter the method, THC goes through your bloodstream and into your brain. And there, the THC is going to latch onto these special receptors. When they are stimulated, you release dopamine. It sends signals to various nerve cells all around your body and makes the user feel high. Not all cannabis is going to get you stoned. That's because marijuana contains another chemical known as CBD. That's cannabidiol. Marijuana plants that have low THC and high CBD can work really well as a medicine. They can treat things like epilepsy. It works because the CBD chemical can quiet excessive electrical and chemical activity in the brain. I know this 3-year-old girl who went from having 300 seizures a week to 2 per month after her parents gave her cannabis with high levels of CBD. When it comes to marijuana, there's some 500 different chemical compounds. All these compounds work together. It's something known as the entourage effect. It's important because you can't just take a chemical of marijuana and make a medicine. You need the whole plant, especially when it comes to using pot instead of pills.
Oh well, until next week, Alafia, peace, and good health, and keep your kids in check.